Hey guys, so the last time we did a Divide music video, it was a Lights song uh, from Death Note Light. But this one, it's ALASTOR, one of my favorites. Um, you know, ALASTOR, I think is going to slowly become kind of like, I heard someone say basically like what Pikachu or Goku is. He's such an interesting character. He's so well designed. His voice is amazing with the radio filter on it. And compared to all the other characters, he just stands out the most. Mostly because he's so mysterious still. We don't know anything about the guy. Um, but I don't think I've ever heard so far. I don't think anyone said, "Oh man, I hate ALASTOR," unless they happen to be like Fox in disguise or something. Um, but everyone seems to love ALASTOR. Um, and he really is one of my favorite characters. Lucifer. Um, so top would be ALASTOR. Next would be Lucifer. Rosie. I love Rosie. She's just so nice and caring, despite the fact that she lives in Cannibal Town and she's so delightful. She's so delightful. You could sit down and have a nice conversation with her. So yeah, ALASTOR, Lucifer, Rosie, Nifty. But ALASTOR has his own song. I'm hoping, knowing who Divide is, I'm hoping for that radio thing to go along with the song, like have that filter. Um, but anyway, let's get right on into this.
Wait. Have you ever wanted something you can buy because your money's either lost or found? Make a deal with anybody who would listen because your order's turning upside down. I got the feedback, what you like is off track. Give me 2 seconds to feed that like cognac. I'm so much more than a friend. Say goodbye to the person you had become. Shake my hand, you have business still left undone. Say goodbye to the person you had become.
Let's see a smile because you're never fully dressed without it. Really, I love the pacing. It like really fast and then slow, fast, slow. It's slow, fast, slow. It's all over the place. Kinda like ALASTOR. You don't know his true intentions. He could be your best friend 1 second, and next he's enormous and he's eating people. So this guy, also he's young. He died, he was 33, or he died in 1933. He was in his 30s. So technically, he's still a young guy. So he kind of behaves like one. He very, very refined in a way, but he's also very childish in a sense. Um, but yeah, the deals, the face when he gets. Hopefully, they show that face that he gets when he makes a deal. His eyes all the way up there, and you see all the stitching. His design is so cool.
Knocking can echo when the spaces are all gone. You have a job to focus all that fire on. Will they all be redeemed? Pleasure to hear the screams. I've been twisting all the cables, frequencies sound so frequent. I have voices waiting, ways to study now. Could anybody tell me otherwise? I'll take the crown. Say goodbye to the person you had become. Shake my hand, you have business still left undone. Say goodbye to the person you had become. Let's see a smile.
Okay, so the jazz part of it, because I mean, you got to remember the time ALASTOR was alive. He was alive. Essentially, he was born like 1900s, and he died 1930s. So that kind of music was very, uh, you know, he lived in Louisiana and stuff like that. So that kind of music was kind of his thing. So I love how they incorporate a little bit of jazz because a lot of his songs, like I think his first song, like in the very first, like what, couple years ago, was very jazzy in a sense, in its way. Um, but just the making deals and I mean they're pretty much hitting what Alistair is that we know of him at least.
Say goodbye to the person you have become. Shave and you have business still left undone. Say goodbye to the person you have become. Let's see a smile.
And then just some amazing looking artwork right there. Alistair, everyone's favorite radio demon. Again, always have that smile because you're never fully dressed without it. Um, but just I love he was showing like a little bit of everything, showing with Lilith and or Eve right here rather. Um, there he is. There's our favorite Lucifer. With his beautiful seraphim wings. And get a little bit of everyone. You got Husk and you got Vox right up there. So you got a little bit of everyone popping up in there, which is really cool. You got the Exorcists right there. And then we have his kind of demon form. And I love how every time you see his shadow, it's kind of like this. It doesn't seem like he has a regular shadow. He can also make his shadow kind of, because we see like in episode 1 when he's talking to Vaggie, his shadow is kind of like sitting right near him, so he can like detach his shadow from him. And but then we've got, like I said, we got people. We got Angel and Charlie and Husk, and Vaggie's right there, and Fox, and this the creation story. And after with Eve and Brood and um let's begin. Um, that's just some really good artwork, though. But yeah, Alistair. I mean, again, I don't think I've seen anyone who doesn't like Alistair because he is such an interesting character because of the filter he has on his voice, even without his mic. Uh, Even without his mic, and people were like, "Oh, it's his mic that gives him." No, he does it himself. Even after Adam breaks his mic, he still has that filter. He controls it. Um, but sometimes he'll talk and he'll have a heavy filter on, and then he talks and it sounds normal. But we don't know anything about his background. We know very little. We know he was, in his 30s when he died. It was 1933. We know he was a mama's boy, apparently. Possibly had an abusive father who was, abusive towards his mother. We know he was absent for 7 years. He tells Zestial that he was taking a well-earned sabbatical, and that there was nothing to really worry about. But then he tells Husk, he's like, "Oh yeah, you've been gone for a while." And no one really knows why. He's like, they don't need to know. So it's like, no one knows anything about him, and that's what makes him so interesting and cool. And I hope he's a character that we're never really fully told everything, because I think having some kind of mystery around him is good. And with the screams and them showing like this, Mimsy tells the story of like when he first arrived in hell, and everyone just kind of, looked the other way with him, like, oh, it's not a big deal. And then suddenly all these overlords who have been ruling as overlords for centuries and just started going, they started disappearing, and no one knew what was happening. But then they started hearing the radio broadcasts of these souls screaming. Every time he took one, he broadcast their screams across all of hell. So so when you think of cruelty, like he has that smile, And he actually is a pretty chill dude, but when it comes to stuff like that, he can be the most cruel. I mean, he tears their souls apart and broadcasts their screams for all of hell to hear. I mean, I think in a way that's probably more cruel than just a demon or overlord just tearing into you. Just something like that, because they have to tear into them and they have to take their soul and rip that apart. So he's ripping their souls apart and broadcasting their screams. So, just the fact that he's such a cool guy, it's pretty chilled and laid back, but to know that he's capable of something so cruel, um, the fact that he's so hell bent on trying to get Charlie's soul at least. Right now, he's made a deal with her. Doesn't cost her her soul. It's just like, oh yeah, I'll tell you how to fight the angels, and in exchange, you just do a little favor for me at a time of my choosing, where you don't harm anyone. And even confirms when Vaggy's also concerned about it. He's like, oh, she still owns her soul. So he's not above or, whatever, making regular deals. He has no problem making regular deals. Deals like Vaggy, like, oh yeah, I'll do this for you, but, in return, you have to promise me never to get me involved with any of this frivolous television technology ever again. It's like, that's a fair deal. Yeah, and I get to keep my soul in me. It's fair. But he is definitely one of the most mysterious, apart from like Lilith, who we'll be seeing hopefully in season 2. Definitely one of the most cruel, like I said, ripping souls apart and broadcasting their screams for everyone to hear. Not the physical body screaming in pain and agony. No, their souls are screaming in pain and agony. When Husk tells him with the whole, a lot of big talk from someone who's also on a leash, and he just like, what did you say? And he slowly turns his head and he slowly grows. He's like, at first he starts walking up to Husk, and he's got Husk on his chain, and he's like, if you ever say that again, I will rip your soul apart and broadcast his screams for every other disrespectful wretch that dares question me. And then he goes back to being all happy. Always good catching up. But if you haven't seen the show, I highly recommend watching it. Plenty of fun character. I mean, all of them are really great characters. Even people like Valentino and Vox, who are just complete scumbags. Actually, Velvet is pretty much a douchebag as well. But all the V's are. All three of them are just. But they grow on ya. But you'll see someone like ALASTOR or Rosie again. Rosie's like one of my favorite characters. She's just so sweet. You would never expect this woman to be an overlord, just how sweet and welcoming, caring. Like I said, apart from the fact she's a cannibal with the giant eye sockets and the sharp teeth, she's as sweet as can be. But anyways, let me know what else, any other songs I should listen to, and who's your favorite character in the show so far. Let me know below. And yeah, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.